Welcome to Catfish Weekly. Along with James Smith, I'm Lyle Stokes, and tonight Mark with Catfish and Crappie is going to help us out again, bless his heart, and we have a special guest, David Martin. Welcome to the show, David. We're so happy to have you on here. James, James, we're going to have a lot of fun tonight. I'm not going to do a whole lot, but I know you can do it. You and Mark's been tearing it up the last few weeks, and, man, it just makes things go really good. But I did want to stop in and tell everybody that I'm doing really good and appreciate all the messages and phone calls and emails and stuff that I get. It makes the world seem like it's in the right perspective when that stuff happens. So thank you guys so much. And I'm going to turn it over to you now, James, and let you take off.
Yep. Well, welcome to Catfish Weekly, all my American catfishing friends, male and female. Mark, appreciate you coming in. As always, stepping up. You do make it easy. Well, we do have a special guest, a friend of mine also, a Carolina boy that's sitting out here going to talk a little bit about bait tank, his fishing style, and the things that he does. And I appreciate him coming in and joining us. So, Mark, how's your week been going so far?
It's been pretty good. Went fishing this weekend with Hook Catfish. We had a blast. He put us on some really big catfish. He did a little better than us. The wind was pretty bad. Waves were like 2 and 3 feet. So, what was it, 38 degrees most of the day. Fish didn't bite until the sun went away. But it ended on a good note. We got one big one at 21 pounds, big channel cat. So I was happy to get out there and witness that. Yep. And they were bigger. We had a bigger one on that got off. So we're going back. Maybe this weekend we'll check it out.
I wish Mendota wasn't so cotton picking far. I'd love to come join y'all up there for that daggum. They're big channels.
I'm going to post the event probably in the next day or so. I'm gathering up some information on where people are going to stay or camp, and we're going to take it from there. So if you go to the page, we'll have that information for you. We'll be able to let you say if you're interested or if you're going, and we'll get a tally of all the people that are heading up. But I know a bunch of people that are going to come from the YouTube community. It should be a real good time.
All right, let's call out a few names on here before we get too far into the show. Give a thank you for everybody. I see Mo Creek, Avid, Creole, Fin Seeker. For some reason, my computer's not letting me zoom all the way back to the top. So if I miss somebody, I'm sorry. Addicted to Fins. There's Miss D in there, John Patrick Jr. I thought I seen the third in here a minute ago. There's Brandon Cross and Muskrat.
I see Creole Catfishing and Cindy Stokes. I see Danny S. Free. Dieter Milhard Fishing's in today.
Mike Greenwell, and there's Pappy.
Sean from Great Outdoors Exploring. Kevin Baker's in there. LG Bass. What's going on, Tom?
The Norm's in here. Mr. James Dockery's already in here stirring up a little mess.
We got Mike Greenwell, who's going to be on my show this Friday. We got Mike Sampson, also goes by Sampy. I see Missouri Creek Fishing. What's going on, Robert?
Great Outdoors Exploring. Guys, if we miss your names, we do apologize.
I see a couple more. I see Stan. I see Palmetto Cats. Northeast Fisherman. We got a lot of people. Shameless Fishing. Skip Stewart in the house. Great. And Sonny Cat, Nabler Parker. What's up, Sonny Parker? How are you, man?
Yeah, Lyle said he kind of put his surgery off to, I think, the 8th. So we got you in our prayers, my friend. Hope it goes good for you.
I see Hooked Catfishing in there, too. I want to give a shout-out to Jonathan. Thanks again for yesterday. It was awesome. If you guys get a chance to check out his channel, you'll see some big channel cats on there in the last few videos. Check it out.
Man, I'm going to tell you what. I know David, he can tell you, we miss them old big channels. We used to be able to get some, not that size channels all the time, but we used to get some decent channels here in the Carolinas.
Back 35 years ago, there was some nice ones in there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I caught on that little bitty rod on my Facebook page down there the other morning. That was a good-sized channel catfish for wildlife.
Oh, yeah. Danny, we do appreciate that, buddy, on the super sticker. We do appreciate it. Well, David, we appreciate you coming in and joining us tonight, buddy. We're gonna pick your brain a little bit. Some of the different techniques and stuff that you use as far as lake fishing. Talk a little bit about your bait tank. You set up a little bit different than most people do, and so I like to kind of let you elaborate a little bit on that. Mark, you got any questions you want to start him off with quick?
I got a lot of flathead questions, the bait tank questions. I'll let you guys talk about that for a little bit, and then we'll move into what we use that bait tank for. How's that sound?
There you go. Go ahead. I'll let you start out with a few questions because I know David and I know how he fishes and stuff. So I'll let you pick his brain a little bit.
Let's get that bait tank questions answered. How many gallons are you running there? It looks like one of them big totes, right?
Yeah, that's one of those 275-gallon totes.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got about a 50 gallons worth of biological over here with live plants growing in it.
Okay.
A lot of rock, and I've got a UV sterilizer on it, kill the parasites. Because I keep my fish in here for a long time. I've got like 60 fish in there, and I don't want to worry about the water going bad.
Absolutely. That biological load can get heavy real quick, especially if you're feeding the fish, right? Do you feed them?
I do feed them because I might not fish for, days. And, so I do throw a little bit of food in there, not a lot. Now I've got a canister filter back here that I keep messing with carbon in it. It's kind of
okay.
Yeah, and they're doing really well. I mean, got a lot of aeration in the tank.
Cool. And you keep then the pH kind of self balances itself through all that processing.
I add some chemicals to it that do that. And then
use like a better bait or a G fluid. When you use like a better bait, or what is that?
When I first started, I put some of that G juice in there just to kind of give it a little bit of a kickstart. But I can move my phone here and try to do this without losing anything, and I'll kind of show it to you.
All right. If you do, just come on back. We'll get you back here.
Can you see it?
I know the people in the chat, they like to see that stuff. So do I. That's pretty sharp, pretty nice. Looks like you got her finished off real nice. So how is the plumbing and the other modifications you had to do? Is that difficult, or is that something that anybody here in chat can do?
I just bumped the tank and, drilled a hole in the side here for the overflow. So when it got so high, it would run down and out that little filter socket, kind of clean the water a little bit. Then I did the same thing with the canister filter, and of course everything is filtered through the carbon. And if you take a look up inside the tank, you can see all the bait in there. It's pretty happy.
Yeah, it's good. That gets me kind of. The only thing more excited than actually being out fishing is having bait to go out fishing. If you ask me, it's always good to have that at home, so you can get up and go.
I like to fish at night. I'm gonna put this phone back without breaking everything. Yeah. I like to fish at night. That's why a lot of people don't see me because I'm usually at nighttime. I just don't like the crowds. I just can't deal with it anymore.
I get it. It's when all the traffic dies down. It's a little easier to stay on anchor. Absolutely.
Running over you and everything else. And in the wintertime, I go down there during the day.
Yeah, that's the time to go. That's when everybody's got their boat, especially here. That's when everybody has their boats put away, and no one's out there jet skiing or water skiing. So yeah, I'm sure everybody can understand that. So, what kind of fish you keep in your bait tank usually? What's your favorite kind of bait? What kind of bait do you use that you like better than another?
I usually go to Lake Norman and I'll catch me 50 or 60 perch. They're just bigger perch up there. And pretty easy to find and catch. And then I've got a whole bunch of spotted bass in there while I catch while I'm fishing for perch because they just kind of get mixed in with them.
Let me reiterate this, David. In the state of North Carolina, we can use game fish as long as we catch them with hook and line and count them as part of our creel and their legal limit. For largemouth and spotted bass, we can keep 2 fish under 14, 3 fish over 14. So that's your legal creel.
I thought the spotted bass on Lake Norman especially had a little bit different limit because they're trying to clean them out a little bit.
They might have on the spot.
Yeah, they're doing that. Yeah, they're doing that in a lot of lakes these days. Where when there's problems with the water or water levels or such, they want to get some use out of those fish. So if they're overrun too, so that's happening in a lot of places I've been reading.
Well, the spotted bass reproduce quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I usually don't take but maybe one with me. I don't want to deal with it, being bothered about it. Of course, I haven't seen a game warden on Lake Wiley in years.
Peter said there's no limit on spotted bass.
Yeah, that's what I thought on Lake Norman. They tried to get them out of there now. I don't know about when you carry them over to Wiley now. I don't know about that.
Right.
Yeah. How big a spotted bass you use for bait, if you don't mind me asking?
What?
How big are the spotted bass that you like to use for bait?
Those in there are probably 12 inches long.
Okay. So a little bit bigger.
What I'm going to have anyway, I just take a couple of one. Because I'll take a few crappies with me and I take mostly perch.
Them crappie are good bait. We can't use them. Well, we kind of can use them here. There's all sorts of stipulations, but I know the big cats really love that crappie.
We can use them here too, but you got to keep the carcass, and it's got to be, X amount of length. I usually just flay them and. There's been times when I've been down there in the middle of the night, and it's foggy, and you can't see the front of the boat, and I've used the crappie kit. I know you're not supposed to do that, but I've done it.
Yeah, that brings up a good point.
The waste.
People who have bait tanks or want to have bait tanks, one of the benefits is even if you're using cut bait, you keep it fresh longer, and you're going to get better results with it. I'm a firm believer in that. So you brought up a good point there. I want to make sure the people in chat realize that bait tanks aren't just for live bait fishing. It's good to keep that bait alive until you cut it, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, if I go down there and I decide I crappie fish when I catfish, because I like to fish around structures in the point. So, I got this super bright light on my boat. I mean, it's like a LED panel. It lights it up like a football field. And then overcast into the water, and I get all the bait fish swimming around. I just let rods hang over the side, and I usually catch a couple dozen crappie while I'm catfishing at night.
That's pretty cool. Very cool.
Yeah, I'll throw some of them in, bring them home, and throw them in here.
So you just killed that old wise tale that it's got to be dark to catch catfish.
No.
I like fishing in the dark, but I'll try to light and try to crappie fishing while I'm doing it. I've never tried that, so that'd be cool to give a shot. So,
but you can catch the heck out of crap. I mean, if you put that light out, you don't have to go hunt them; they'll come to the boat. Yeah, on my Facebook page, some of you have seen it where I posted pictures of all them shad and swimming under my boat. Millions of them.
So, do you use one of those green lights that you drop in the water as well?
No, I got this thing. I hate to keep leaving the screen. I'm going to leave the screen. I'm coming back. If I can get it out of my boat. I got one of these things. They're like $50. Let me see if I can hook it up. They're like $50 on Amazon, and it's got an LED panel on it.
I see. I think I saw a post where you posted
it. If I turn that thing on, I can adjust it to 100%, whatever. You can see how bright it is.
Yeah, it's bright. They'll wash you out pretty good.
So, I've run that 12 foot up in the air, and the bugs go way up there, and it lights up the boat like a football field.
And that overhead light's nice. I have LEDs run around the whole perimeter of my boat. It really blows my night vision. So having that light above you is probably a good idea.
Yes, sir.
I bought 2 or 3 of them, and then Big Nasty came over here at the house the other day with Flint Hill, and he saw it, and he went and bought him 2 of them.
Speaking of Big Nasty, I think I saw Big Nasty in the chat. Seeing the Weekend Angler in the chat. Just want to make sure Richard Ward just popped in. And SK's Crappie Catching Adventure. How you doing, SK?
Big Nasty don't mess around. He saw that light, and he ordered it on the way. He done had it ordered before he left here. And the next day, I turned on his Facebook page. He's got a whole truckload of these totes in his driveway.
Yeah, he's a good old boy. Now, David, let's go back to your bait tank a little bit. Let's talk about your plants and your biofilter and stuff. You using submerged and floating plants in there, and the roots actually do all the work.
Well, like any aquarium, I mean, I used to have 250-gallon saltwater aquariums in the house, so I understood biological.
Right.
But if you put plants in the sump, that's the proper word for it for an aquarium, they'll grow and absorb all the nitrates out of the water. They'll keep the water pure. So they'll filter a lot of the waste out of the water. The roots don't do anything. It's the actual plant itself absorbing it into the leaves and everything.
Right.
And of course, I have a lot of rocks in there, and to hold the biological bacteria.
Got you. So
and I keep the light thing on 24/7, so the plant's always got light 24/7.
Right. So you're using lava rocks for your biomass.
I've got lava rocks. I've got bioballs in there. And that's mainly the stuff that's in there for the for the rock part.
Get that good bacteria growing in there, help dissolve some of that ammonia, correct?
If you get enough of it, what goes on up here won't be near as much trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Absolutely.
I mean, I do a water whenever I go fishing. That's when I do my water change. I'll take 2 5-gallon buckets of water out here and dump it in my live well in the boat. And my boat has an aerates itself, and I'll turn that on, and then I'll put the new water in here.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Now, I want to say that I want to say the filters again, David, if you don't mind. And while you're doing it, explain a little bit about your the UV filter system.
Can y'all see that?
Yes,
Turn
we
it down.
can.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Now we got you.
Yeah, you can see the balls and the rocks and the plants growing, and there's a couple of bluegills in there too. But then I got a filter sock, which those things will get they take out a lot of junk. They'll turn plumb black in a day or two. I'll show you one right here. This is one that was in there that I hadn't washed yet. I mean, they get filthy. You can see how filthy they get.
Oh yeah.
And I can just throw them away. I mean, I rinse them out. I don't throw them away and then put them back on there. But a lot of that junk that would wind up in your filters and everything winds up in here. You can get rid of it.
Yeah, get that first. I always run I run through my filter into like a waterfall type deal, and then I'll just lay some filter mats right at the bottom of it. So that kind of helps get the final garbage out of there. So
it is a UV sterilizer, and it takes care of a lot of the parasites and stuff like that would the fish may have on them.
now, if somebody in chat wanted to start their own bait tank, would they necessarily need to get that complicated of a setup, or could they just?
This is really not what you'd call complicated. It's pretty basic, really.
Okay.
You see, I got a big air stone in there too, making a lot of bubbles.
That helps definitely.
Yeah, you can see them all scattered. There's fish everywhere in there. But that's pretty. I mean, these things here, you can pick them up for $50. This one here had detergent in it, and I Cloroxed it out and cleaned it. I mean, the filtration system, everything you see here, I probably got $400 in the whole thing.
Gotcha.
So it's not that bad. I did have everything in one of those 100-gallon horse troughs that you feed the horses.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't keep many fish in there. It just wasn't doing what I wanted it to do. And then actually Matthew Anthony is the one that started this. It went from Matthew Anthony. I saw his and I had to have one. Then it went from me to Big Nasty. Now he's got one. So, but that's the first time I'd ever thought about using a tote. And that's when I jumped out of the 100-gallon tank that I was using.
Yeah, it's the filters. I mean, I've seen a lot of people, they use them water hyacinth. You can actually go down to your lake like during the summer or something and get you some of the hydrilla, which is great because it's a submerged vegetation. And there's how many different type of vegetation are you using? 2, 3, 4? So you kind of cover the bases.
I got like 4 different species of plants in there, and I got some of those bamboos in there.
Right.
But I want to keep everything down there too. I don't want it to get up here because I don't want to take some weed down to the lake and cause the lake to start growing some kind of plant or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
So,
we dang sure don't need them water hyacinths on Wiley. Them things grow like crazy.
Yeah, nothing that I have in here can get up there because of all the filters it would have to go through.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Very cool.
No, catfish head hunters, the plants actually add oxygen to your water. It takes out the nitrates. And
takes out the nitrates, and it really does make a big difference. I mean, if you have just plants in there alone and nothing else, and let all that water just flow through the plants, that bacteria will grow, attach them plants too.
Yeah, without the UV, you'd actually have to probably have a bigger tote with more plants in it for however many fish you decide to keep.
Yeah, the UV doesn't really help. The UV doesn't really do much for the biological part of it. It just kills any parasites it might be on the fish.
But it all works hand in hand.
Yeah, and it helps keep the water clear too.
Right. Oh yeah.
Yeah, you get like a bacteria bloom in there or something where the bacteria explodes. It'll clear your water back up.
It's basically an aquaponic system, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my Big Nasty done started naming his, so I don't think he's gonna fish with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, All right, David, let's go ahead and tell the people what kind of boat you got so we can go through some of the basic questions right quick. And I know you're proud of that new polished up boat.
Yeah, I've got one of the Pro Guide 175, and I really like it. It's got a lot of room in it. I've had too many boats in my lifetime, but and I bought one of those Grizzly 1860s. It had the pontoons on the back of it.
Right.
A real stable boat, but I just wasn't comfortable being down there at night in it. The sides were low, and this boat right here, I don't worry about it because the sides are real high. I mean, I just fall asleep in this thing. If I'm tired, I don't care. So I got this boat because I wanted the V hull back again because the modified V will still beat you to death.
Right.
The tractor boats don't do the best job with their modified V. It's more flat bottom than anything. Yeah, I mean, some of your better quality aluminum boats do a better job with their modified V's than tractor does. This boat here, I just got it because I wanted the stability, I wanted the high sides, more because I stay out there at night. I just want to feel safe.
So how long have you had it?
This one here about 4 months.
4 months now. I know. I saw some videos. You set up the electric anchor and a bunch of stuff, which was pretty cool. How's that electric anchor working for you?
A 34-gallon live well in the back too. I can put some pretty big fish in it.
How's that electric anchor working for you?
Well, I didn't like them at all when I first got them because my expectation was I could just mash the button and back up. But the string kind of wrap itself back in there, and then forward down becomes up. It's really getting irritating. So what I found out that I needed to do was just get the string out on one of them first, and then start backing up and get it tight. And you got a remote, and I just let it out and I back up. But you got to keep that rope tight, or it'll start wrapping itself back up. And then once you get the front one out far enough, you just drop this one straight down and then you just start mashing, pulling that one in while this one goes out. It's been a saver on my back and my arm because I just mash the button and they come up out of the water. You just got to figure out how to use them. At first, I was like, really didn't like it the first day. But now they really help out. Yeah, especially I had all that shoulder surgery years ago. I don't want to be sitting there doing this 15 times a day.
So you have the electric anchor. You did the larger bait tank. What other kind of modifications? And the light. What other kind of modifications have you done already?
Not really. I mean, I've got the power drive, trolling motor, which gives me the spot locking GPS, but nothing really. And I took that off my other boat. That's why I bought it, because there was nothing for me to do to it. I had plenty of storage.
And what kind of rod holders are you running?
I use those raw craft. These guys here, and I just like them because I can slide them up and down my old tracks.
Those are the synthetic ones, correct? It's kind of hard to see.
Yeah, the synthetic ones, and I like them because I can slide them up and down the track, and I've got like 2 of them up here, and I've got a bunch of them over there in the compartments, and I can just easily move them around.
Well, I know you catch big fish too, and I know people are worried with those synthetic ones about them holding up. How do they hold up to the big fish?
You saw them flatheads on my Facebook page. They don't even move them things.
They don't even move them, huh?
No, they don't do. I mean, they're not going to tear them. Like at one time, that one flathead in my video that I posted the other week, it's giving me a fit getting into everything. I just reached over here to grab these things and just throw them off to the side. That way I didn't have them in my way,
That's good to know.
Yeah. Carl Wells. Carl Wells wants to know, is that one of the Patriot bobbers hanging on a rod behind you?
It is. I use them, yeah.
David bought the first 8 bobbers that went out of my place, guys.
Sure did. That's a collector's item right there. That's one of the first ones.
Yeah, that's one of the first ones right there. Now, let's go ahead and since I know Mark is wanting to know about these flatheads, we mainly fish out here in lakes. Now, there's a couple lakes that we have that does get some pretty good current in it, like Baden, and a few others can get some river current in them. Baden can get some real mean current in it at times, but mainly we lake fish around here. So, David, take us what you prepare and what you start looking for when you're planning on and saying if you want to target flatheads on wild.
Well, that day I was on your show that I caught the 5 of them. Caught the one on your show.
Right.
I was actually fishing a point. I don't fish out on the main lake much for them. I go back in these secondary coves and channels, and I like to fish the points. There's a couple of places I really like to fish that got a bunch of structure and rocks out on the point. And then when you come into off the main channel, there's a cove that goes back into another cove, and then there's a big pocket where there's shallow water. And I like to get over when the wind's blowing towards me. It'll blow all that bait fish up in there. And I'll usually just fish both sides of those rocks and those logs. That one I got hung in that video that night, couldn't get out of them rocks. I had one on this side of the rock and one on that side of the rock. I caught that fish. This fish took the bait real slow back into them rocks. But I like fishing the points. I bass fished that lake for 20 years before I started catfishing. And I just keep going back to those same spots because I know where those trees and stumps and there's fish there.
You bring up points, and I've actually had a question, so I'm going to ask this to you. You can see visible points above when you got points land coming out. What about points underwater where you have like humps and stuff that are hidden? Do they produce just as well for you?
I haven't really tried to fish the humps for flatheads. I usually go straight back into those secondary channels and look for those points. And if there's a ledge there and there's some structure and there's another cove going off to the side, I'll sit right there all day and fish. And sometime during the day, those fish will come through there. And that's usually one day I sat there all day, 4 or 5 hours, nothing. All of a sudden, 2 rods went down. It was over 30-pound flatheads. I put a picture of them on my Facebook, holding them up. And then a little bit later on, I caught another big one. It was like 38 pounds. And I caught that 28-pounder on James' show. And I literally sat there all day and didn't move. And all of a sudden, bang, here they come.
Yeah, if you know where they're do you have an idea that they come in there to feed at night, or were you just kind of like trying it for the first time?
No, that's the way I always fish for them. There's a couple there's a Dieter knows where it's at probably, but there's a cove right across from the Belmont Landing. I mean, it's just a small cove. You go straight across from the Belmont Landing. You go in that little cove right there. I caught 2 fish close to 40 pounds in there. That one I had the big old head held up, but I didn't weigh. Come out of that cove. I just sat in that cove. It was real quiet at night, and that fish, I looked out in the line, the tip of the rod. I mean, you don't even hardly sometimes see them bite it.
Yeah, you see the little dance going on, definitely.
I looked over and the line was over here, was over there. Next thing I know, it's over here, but it took it like 10 minutes to get over there.
So you're basically not one of them guys that moves every 15 minutes, 30 minutes. You kind of know where the fish are going to end up. You hunker down and there you stay. Huh?
I don't move. I don't drift. I don't have any planer boards. All them fish you see on my Facebook page are me sitting there waiting.
That's a some people say, well, that's a lazy fishing, but to me, that's more precise fishing. You're actually picking out a great spot that you know that there's going to be a transitional place that the fish are going to come in to feed or leave out of from feeding. You got structure. You got a good transitional point around the point. Always bait in that area. I know where you're at. So
the wind blows a lot of bait in there. And if you look on the graph, the wind's clearly blowing it in there. So
yeah, once you get all that figured out, one of the first places I used to like anchor up and stay at fishing back when I first started flathead fishing were choke points because they got to get through there. Once you figure out where the bait is and what they're smashing them, which I think exactly what you've done, I think that's a good place to start for a lot of people who are just getting flathead fishing. Get on there.
Yeah, and if you're fishing at night and you put out that light after about an hour, if you take some minnows with you or jigs, you can sit there and catch all the crappie you want to catch. Because you notice, you'll see I post a lot of crappie too, and that's because I'm sitting there waiting on the catfish, and I'm sitting there. Of course, I got that big channel catfish. It was huge off that little tiny rod fishing for crappie. But I just sat there and catch crappies off the side of the boat while if I hear a drag take off, I'll go get it.
That sounds like fun.
Catch two kinds of fish.
That's right.
Now, you was telling me there's another lake that I need to go with you to catch some good channels. What lake is that?
Lake Road, yes. There's some big ones in there. You saw that big one I caught on Lake Hickory. It was a pretty good size channel. That's just one river down.
Right.
That doesn't have a lot of blues in it. It does, but there's not a lot of them, or not big ones anyway. But it has a lot of channel cats in there.
That might be somebody had a question and I missed it.
I'm looking at it too. I did see JR pop in. I see Fishing with Squirrel popped in. Thanks for coming in the show. We got 84 people watching, which is great. Big Slim 91, welcome. Let's see.
Junior Proctor's in the house with us tonight.
Junior Proctor, I did miss it. I'm sorry, Junior. New School Fishing, that's JR. So
yeah, I see Howard Diggs Jr.'s in the house. Guys, if you see some new faces and some new names, or if you're not subscribed to somebody that's in chat, go check them out. Check out their channel and share the bait up with them. Now, David, you say the reason why you say you picked those secondary channels was one of the main reasons to get out of the mayhem that can be out on the main lake. Yeah, was there a specific reason why you chose to go back in them areas?
Well, because those fish travel up and down. The water's not as rough out there. It's calmer and it's usually back there, and you know, on those points, and they hold a lot of bait. A lot of those fish will move back in the back of those coves to eat that shallow water as they come out and they pass by. I like to be sitting there when they come through.
Or I got to step away a minute.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah, when they come through those little smaller areas in those channels, I like to be sitting there because they got to pass by there.
Yep, they got to go through those choke points. They get funneled in there. That's a great tactic to use.
And I found more of those flatheads back in those secondary creek channels than I have out in the main river. Of course, I see Matthew Anthony catching them out there drifting. So, I mean, they're out there.
Yeah, the drifting, I see guys catching them drifting or dragging baits or something, but I think the way you go about it is a little more productive. And I do see your buddy Flint Hill catfishing in the house. You said hello. Let's see who else is in here. And Cat Kings just popped in too. Hey guys. So when you're looking for places to fish, do you fish Wiley mostly, or do you go to other bodies of water? Do you try new bodies?
I go to Norman usually to get my bait because I can find perch up there a lot easier. They're a lot bigger, and I can catch a whole lot of them spotted bass while I'm up there. And I caught a nice flathead in this nice little Flint Hill shirt. I was out there fishing, so I fish for them up there too, but not like I do on Wiley. Hickory I hadn't fished in years, and I thought I'd try it again, and I wasn't. It was just a mud hole.
Yeah,
it looked like soup out there when I went. Usually I go to Wiley, just nobody sees me because I go at nighttime.
And nighttime, yeah. So how long do you spend out there on a typical night, and how often do you go a week?
I went out there Saturday night, 5 o'clock, and I didn't leave the lake till 10 o'clock the next morning.
10 o'clock the next morning, yeah. That makes for a good night, man. That's kind of how I like to fish. So, what are your favorite setups as far as hook, line?
I use the Carolina rig with the egg sinkers.
With the egg sinker, just Carolina rig, and being in a lake, you're not moving.
Yeah, and I really got attached to this Whisker Seeker line, fishing line.
Mm-hmm.
I about switched almost everything over to it with the Whisker Seeker rods, and I've got 7,000. I got a whole bunch of these little 7,000 with the Catfish logo on them.
Oh, those are nice. The newer ones.
I really, really, really like that Whisker Seeker fishing line.
And you do. I see a peg float on there. So you do suspend your baits?
Occasionally. But you know what? I catch more fish with laying on the bottom.
When I like to
flatheads off of it, just lay it on the bottom, and I do it at float.
When I like using peg floats and such is when I'm using bullheads. It keeps them from hiding in the rocks. Other than that, if it's on a line and it's sitting on the bottom, I find that flathead find them as well. So
sorry about that, guys.
But 99% of the time, I'm just like I did when I bass fish years ago.
Yeah. Now, do you like your bait to be struggling all night? You like to see that rod twitching? Are you switching baits out when they stop? That's my question.
No, not really. I mean, caught that flathead when James was on James' show. I caught it off a little brim head. I left it on there and cast it back out there and catch another one on it. Wasn't nothing wrong with it. So, I'll change my bait out after it's been out there a couple hours, but I'm not constantly changing it. I can't count how many times that I've got ready to pull it up or got ready to leave, like that night I got ready to leave the other week when I had them flathead videos where I caught that big old flathead. I was fixing to leave, and about 30 minutes later, both of them rods were down, and it was on a bait and been out there for 3 hours. So I think if they come by and they're hungry, they'll eat it.
They'll eat it? Yeah, it's good too.
And every time I catch one of them big ones, if you'll notice, it's on like a little tiny brim head. Just barely any gill and eyeball on there.
And I think I said this last week, elephants eat peanuts.
Those little flatheads are always eating them little perch heads. They don't. I very seldom ever get one on the body. It's always on the head.
On the head, yep.
I'll get the blues on the body. I got a pair of these. I don't really want to climb up in the boat, but I got a big pair of them one-sided cutters. It's flat on one side. It's got a blade.
Mm-hmm.
I'll see them fish heads that are snapped their head off and then cut their body up. I throw the guts and all out there.
Somebody wanted to know, when you're anchor fishing, David, how long you let your bait set before you bring them in and check to make sure, or rebait?
I've let them sit out there a couple hours without messing with them, and the flatheads I caught that night have been sitting out there. Those brim heads have been sitting out there for 3 hours. So and it's cold water.
I'd talk to you when you was getting out there getting set up, and so you had let them sit there, but by the time you come on the show, they're still out there.
They were still out there, and I caught that flathead on your show, about that 20-pounder, I guess. But no, I mean, if it's really hot in the summertime, I'll change it more because the bait seems to go bad faster. But when it's cold water, if it's cold like it is, I'll leave it out there all day. I don't care.
Do you change your baits? Do you change your baits with seasons? Or is it the same all year long?
In the summertime, I prefer to use bluegill. I mean, I'll take me a rod and go catch me a bunch of them, and it's hard to beat bluegills for flathead.
New school want to know, you ever sleep out there on the boat?
No, but I know somebody does. Actually, I did the other day, but I know somebody that does. He's in a coma. That day, he wasn't asleep. He was in a coma. I went around his boat. I knew he'd been out there and caught that big old giant flathead, but I went around his boat 4 times, blowing the horn, nothing. And he had a rod bent over in the water, and I was sitting there thinking, he'd fall off the boat. Did he get hurt? And then I said, anybody in that boat? And I said, it looks like JR's boat. And I'm like, well, I hope it's JR's boat. They're going to think I'm crazy, but nobody, like 15 minutes, all this noise I made, nothing. So I finally figured, well, here goes. And I went, JR! And then his head pops up. And I'm like, you all right?
Well, that's nice of you to check on a man that's out there in the water. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, I was just about, I'm serious. I'm not joking, but I couldn't figure out how to get to his boat because he had so many rods out. And I'm like, I got to figure out how to get over there. I'm just about ready to go wading and go over there. I really thought something happened to him. Yeah. If I would have yelled real loud, I was going to go over there somehow.
Well, yeah, I mean, you just never know. And David, as a fisherman, I appreciate you checking on another fisherman like that, or anybody. You see a boat and ain't nobody on it, and you don't see nobody swimming around in the water or whatever. It's best to do that.
Yeah, and I fell asleep in mine down there at night sometimes, and I'm wondering myself if I lay down, if I fall asleep here, people come over here and start messing with me like something's wrong, the boat's in.
Right.
Yeah, that's what people think when they don't see a body.
I don't know how you guys can do it. I can't sleep before I go fishing, let alone while I'm out fishing.
I'm with you, Mark.
That big flathead, that big old blue that I caught down there, I'm sitting in the boat like this right here. I think I looked at my watch, and the time that I caught the fish and the time that I knew I was dozing off was about an hour's time, and I heard, yeah, he woke me up and about broke my neck getting it, but I got him. Come flying up out of the sea. You get tired after that long sitting there.
There you go. Well, Mark, we're a little over past halfway, and I talked with Lyle, and I'm going to go ahead and start sponsoring this show with some of my floats, and I'll try to catch us at 8:30, but my problem, I had a crackhead pull up in my driveway down there and cut his lights out. Oh. That's why I jumped up and run out, so didn't mean to interrupt the show. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and spin here in chat. Everybody say hello or give you link or whatever, get your names in here right quick, and we're going to do a spin. The first one we're giving away is going to be a blue Patriot Cat bobber. So Everybody get your names rolling in the
Make
chat.
a comment in the chat so you're entered.
Yeah. The more comments you make, the more odds of you getting picked.
Grab it. We'll drink.
I got my red, white, and blue one sitting out here on the kitchen table that I had pulled out, got ready to go the other day. They can't get that one, but they can get a good one.
Yes, sir. Oh, and
their hellos are rolling down.
Catmandu. Contact me on Messenger, or you can text me at 704-600-8369. And my friend, we'll have this in the mail to you as soon as you get your name and address to me. Thank you for watching Catfish Weekly and appreciate you coming in and support us, my friend. All right, sorry about that. Didn't mean to interrupt you, Mark.
That's all right, kid. Congratulations, Catmandu. You're going to have a lot of fun with that bobber. If you ain't using them yet, you might just start using them a lot more now. So,
yes, sir. I'm going to get with David, talk with him today. He's going to take me out. It's time for me to get some good night footage with these bobbers, some takedowns and stuff, and some good day footage. And he's on the water a good bit here lately, so hopefully we can get some good stuff on them. Now, David, I know you like me and Mark and a lot of guys, we love chasing them flatheads. But from what I understand, you just like chasing fish.
When I anchor down, I fish for anything that comes around the boat. I mean, I like to set up where I can get crappies because when you fish them points, you're usually close to trees that are down around the bank too. And if you get that light out, like I said, perch and crappie and everything get under that light. And I just sit there and catch other fish. But I've caught blues down there. I've caught some nice blues down there too, but I don't usually target them. I'm usually pick them up while I'm sitting there trying to catch a flathead.
There you go. So
I usually catch when I'm fishing those points. I'll throw some out off the ledge in the channel, and then I'll throw some towards them rocks or them logs that I'm trying to fish around for them flatheads. And I'll kind of spread them out a little bit. I'll let one hang straight down under the boat.
Seeing some new names coming here tonight, Mark.
I saw setting hooks. I see setting hooks and crossing eyes. It's my buddy Ryan from locally. What's going on, Ryan? I see it. James Albog. I apologize if I said your name wrong. KB Anglers in the house. Daniel Ishmael popped in here. If there's anybody else that just came
there's a Dave, and I'm not even going to attempt to say his last name. Appreciate the blessings to all you catfishing people. M&M Lawn Care, Kevin Baker, Brad Becks. Guys, we appreciate it. Guys, like I said, if you see new names pop in, check them out. Share the love.
Morales, Texas Fishing. If we haven't mentioned him yet, I see him in there. Cat Kings. We got a bunch of new people in here tonight.
Oh, yeah. We appreciate each and every one of your supporters. That's 88 people in chat. That's pretty cool. Now, David, do you ever, like you said, you don't fish mainly on the main lakes and stuff like that, but do you ever make a run up the lake and fish into the river sections of Lake Wiley?
I do. Not as much as I do down on some of those channels down. I don't fish very far from the Belmont Landing actually, because I'm out there at night. And if anything happens and I have to use a trolling motor to go back to the dock, I don't get too terribly far away because there's plenty of fish around there. But yeah, I do go up around the trestle. I posted the video the other day in that green boat of mine. It's where I caught a big old blue. He was caught right there near Bell's Landing.
Right.
And but I used to fish up there more years ago when all those white bass used to run up there. That little sandbar up there used to run up there. Stringers full of them.
I miss it. Guys, if you ever get them white perch start producing in your lakes and you have a good population of white bass,
beat them up.
Go out and enjoy your white bass while you can, because it don't take long and you'll start seeing less and less and less of them. They really, I don't know why, they just decimate the white bass.
They'd run up in Dustin Creek. I mean, you'd run up in Dustin Creek with the boat as far as you could go and just catch a hound out of them.
Yeah, and good ones.
Yeah, the cats too. I used to sit right across from the landing there and cast off that ledge there at that first point, and with using rod and reel shrimp. And them channel catfish were big, long, and they were gray, more gray looking back then.
Yeah.
A lot of spots on them. They just look different.
Yeah. I like them old big males. Them old big males get them old big heads on them and old ugly heads and stuff on them. Just good fighting fish. That's why I ain't gonna be able to go to Mendota with Mark and all them, because I couldn't imagine getting on 20+ pound channels. I would just
road hiss, you can.
Oh, I'd be beside myself. We got to make that trip.
Yeah, I think you should get it done.
I mean, it's not that far. I mean, you think about it. Where we live right here, we're circled with lakes. I mean, I can go in any direction. I can be on Road Hiss in 45 minutes. I can be on Norman in 30 minutes. I can be on Wiley in 40 minutes. I fish Mountain Island sometimes too. I mean,
Matthew Anthony's joined us tonight. Appreciate you coming in, Matthew. David Ishmael has a question. I need an answer. I'm an old school fisherman, but I got a new depth finder. Your transducer behind the boat. Try to turn around and get the bait. Throw the cast net and nothing. More than once I've had that to happen. You're reading the bait and then you throw and then they're gone. Best thing when you do and you see them like it is put that boat in reverse and try to catch back up to them. And when you see them, when you're in reverse and you're backing up to your bait, when you see them go under, run to the front of the boat and throw the net out of the front of the boat. That's about the best way to get them, because they will get gone on you quick.
What I do, and I'm not very successful at it, is I just look at the bubbles my motor leaves and make sure I'm going right back over the same area if I go to turn around and get the bait.
If you spot lock with these new trolling motors and be still long enough, they'll come back under the boat.
Yeah.
Just sit there and watch your graph, and they'll just keep passing by.
And it really depends on what fish it is too.
Yeah.
So, Dave, you mentioned spot lock, and I know you got that anchor set up. Do you ever just spot lock in a spot, or do you anchor up because you're there for so long?
I do when I'm perch fishing. I go up north catch perch. I'll spot lock on top of those perch.
Mm-hmm.
And just sit there and catch them. If I feel like moving to a different spot, I'll move around with the remote. But that's when I spot lock on a bait fish most times. I've spot lock over some crappie too in their own brush. But.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. But I find when I'm catfishing that it's hard to anchor up with spot lock and keep your line steady for any period of time unless you're running a drift sock of some sort. That kind of helps, but.
Yeah, I'm usually.
But then you got to have current.
Current, yeah, you absolutely do.
What model of light did you purchase? They want to know that light. Show that light, because a lot of people come in after you showed the light.
Yeah, Flint River was asking too, and you showed it at the beginning. So if you want to show it again, I'm sure he'll. I think he actually knows which one it is, but he wants everybody else to see.
He was with Big Nasty.
He had two of them en route before he left my driveway.
What kind of pole? What's the pole that's mounted on? Did that come with it, or is that something?
Another pole. You can just twist it, and lock it, and you get that thing 12 of your boat. And and you can keep the boat like way up there. But like for $50, you can't beat it. And I ordered an extra panel off of eBay for like $8 in case the panel ever burned. Then you can buy a little remote and another little controller for it, like $5.99 off eBay. They work really great. I've never had one fail. I've got 4 of them.
Very cool. And I'm sorry, you broke up for a second. Did you say that pole came with it, or is that something that you added?
Well, you get if you get the right one on Amazon for $50, it's called a contact. It comes in a little bag, and it's got comes with the remotes, comes with the battery hookup, comes with everything.
Very cool. I really like that. I'm definitely going to have to look into that and get that. I like the idea of it being up there in the air and not downright blasting you in your eyes for the first part, let alone.
Before I had that, I had lights all over my boat. Since I got that, you've seen pictures on my Facebook. My boat's lit up like a football. You don't need anything.
Somebody said, if you don't mind, pull your camera loose and show them your boat right quick.
All right.
You're gonna have to do a walk around video on your boat and post it up.
I'll show this to Matthew. Here's all that plants growing in there, Matthew, that I was talking about. But it's just I don't know if you guys can see in it or not. Messy right now for me fishing all night, but it's pretty big.
We can see it good.
Got a 115 on it. Got live wells in the front, live wells in the back. Like I said, it's a mess because I just come back from fishing. There's another live well right here, and they self aerate. If I hit the controls, they'll just aerate even when the boat's out of the water.
Right.
It's got storage everywhere, and then I put one of these steps right here on there. I don't know if you can see that step.
Yeah, those are cool. That's definitely going on my next boat. I'm getting one of those.
Well, yeah, I just get on it, just walk right up in the boat, and it's no big deal. And because this boat's so high in the front, when I had first bought it, I went up to Lake Norman with it, and I had to use a rope to push it off the trailer, and a rope to pull it back on the trailer. Then I fell in the river, and I'm like, no, and I went and bought that. But
yeah, you're like me. You do a lot of fishing alone, so that's definitely gonna help.
Yeah. But this right here is what makes the aerators, aerate themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have to blow a bunch of bubbles in them, and that's about it. And my graph's not too fancy. It's just one of those hooks, hook 5s or whatever, hook 7 reveal. But now,
does that have side scan, or are you just going with the regular sonar?
I got down scan and just regular maps and regular
2D.
Regular, just your regular fish finder.
And you said that was a 17?
Yep, 17. And it's about 8.5 foot wide. You can see how wide it is.
Yeah, it looks nice and wide.
Yeah, it's got plenty of room, and that's why I bought it, because these high sides, I felt like I was safer and I wouldn't fall in the lake, out there by myself. And it just, of course, you get that catfish slime all over the carpet, which is a little bit eerie. And you're right, James. If you get catfish slime on that floor down there, you better wipe it up with a towel. You'll be on your butt.
That's that new vinyl flooring, ain't it?
Yeah, and my other boat that I had gotten rid of had that in it too. But if you don't wipe it up and you step on it and it gets good in the slime, you get ready to go for a ride.
Well, you might have to go to one of these like Lowe's or something and buy you one of those cheap rugs and just roll it up and leave it in your boat or in the back of your truck. And then when you get there, unroll it, and throw it in the bottom of the floor. So when you're out there fishing, you don't do the 2-step out there before you hit the drink.
Mm-hmm. They sell those bed rugs for pickup trucks. Those are pretty durable and they're waterproof. So, or you can just go and get outdoor carpet and cut yourself a piece to fit. Take it out and hose it down. You'll be good to go.
Yeah.
There's a ton of storage, down in this cabinet down here in the bottom. You can put a ton of stuff down there in that bottom section, and all your rod storage. It's got a lot of room in it. I'm real happy with it. And for the money, you can't beat it. And Tracker does make a pretty decent boat. Many years ago, they got a bad rap with some of their first boats they built, in their fiberglass boats. But I've had 6 or 8 of them and never had any problem with them.
It's a good looking boat.
Yeah. Well, and yourself, Mark and David, if you actually feel safe in that boat, you're more apt to go more often than if you don't feel safe.
And another thing about it too, it's real easy to load that boat on and off the trailer. If you get it in the water just right, I can literally just drive it right up on there, walk right up the front, walk down that step, and just lock it and go.
Very nice.
On the back too, in case you fall in, there's a ladder
I know.
on the back of it. It's like a welded platform.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But I really like it. I'm really pleased with it. I definitely feel safer in it.
Now, is that a tandem or a single axle trailer?
It's just single axle.
It's a single, nice. And a bunk. You got regular bunks, or are there roller bunks on there?
There's regular flat
Regular bunks.
Yeah, there's 4 of them, and that's what makes it so nice. It lines itself up pretty good on the boat. And that 115 just push it right up on there.
Push it right up on there. That's what's good. I've had experience with some roller trailers, and you'll get it on easy, but it'll roll right back off if you quit. So you got to be careful with that.
That's what other people do. I get up here in the front and it roll off, and I bought one of those latches that when you drive up, it catches it.
Yeah.
I actually gave it to Big Nasty because I'm not going to use it because this boat just doesn't slide backwards on me.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And,
Yep. And especially at the South Point boat landing, I've seen so many people unhook their boat and go to back down that daggum ramp, and their boat end up on the asphalt.
Yeah, that's pretty dumb, really, to do that, but they do it. Well, you know, and this summer's been terrible down there. I didn't fish as much this year as I normally would fish. Everybody and their brother was down there. I went down there at 11 o'clock one night on a Saturday night in July to put in, and I just left because there was like 20 people waiting to get out of the water in their boat, in their play boats at 11 o'clock at night. I just went, I couldn't deal with it.
And Saturday nights on Wally, if nobody's ever been on Wally on the weekend, can be very dangerous. It really can. The partiers and stuff like that, and they don't know that you drive on the right hand side of the road. They think they're still in England or something. They drive on the wrong side of the daggum lake too, and they don't care. They don't care.
I coming down the middle of the channel. You know, some of them people run wide open down through there. Nighttime, you got to be a little careful. I've had boats for 35 years, and I saw like a silhouette of something. I'm like, what is that? So I slowed down and I creeped up to it, and I heard somebody start laughing. And it was a guy and a girl all hooked up. Him in one of them little seats you sat in, little cup holders, like a little fishing seat that your feet dangle down. And they was all hugged up to each other in there, and I'm like, you know, you're gonna die out here. They were in the middle of the channel out there right before you get into South Fork almost. And their boat
that ain't a good place to be.
No, and their boat was anchored back up near that island. I said, look, whatever you're doing, you need to go back to your boat. I said, because if I would have been coming wide open down here and didn't know what I was looking at, I would have run right over the top of you out here. And they just like, so.
Yeah. So.
But you got to watch it. You got to watch it down there in the summertime. It wasn't
absolutely.
Yeah, 25 years ago, I could go to that lake, and after work, when I got off work at 2:30, during the week, you had the lake to yourself. Not like that anymore.
Yeah, I've had that lake to myself before, and had the boat go down about 5 miles away. The boat landed in the wind blowing in the wrong direction. All you do is anchor down and hope somebody comes riding by, because the day it happened, we didn't have cell phones, and we didn't have pagers, and we didn't have none of that good stuff that you could communicate with people. And of course, I didn't have one of the radios on the boat.
You worked it out without it, though, didn't you?
Yeah, luckily, as a bass fisherman to come up through there, and I figured he was going to buzz right on by me and leave me sitting, but he didn't. He actually threw me a rope and pulled me about 4.5 miles back down the lake, and you know, to this day, I appreciate that, because I would have cooked out there. It was about 98 degrees in the summertime on a Tuesday. So they probably wasn't many more boats going to be coming up through there then. But
no, that's why I like to fish this time of the year. Everybody kind of just scatters out and goes away.
Agreed. It's a great time of year to get out on the water. You have it all to yourself. It's still a little cold out here, but get on every chance we get. So
yeah, well, until COVID hit, you could go down there and fish at night. It wasn't that bad, but last year it was just worse than I've ever seen it before. Cars 5 miles up the road. I mean, it's just terrible. This year was really bad. A lot of fishing didn't happen this year because of that.
Yeah. Mark, you got any more Flathead specific questions for the man? While we have him on here.
Maybe one. If I know we have a lot of really good anglers in the chat, but for the couple that don't specifically target flatheads, what would be your advice to them?
Get some good fresh bait and use the bluegills. I know some lakes don't use cut bait. They all swear up and down they won't eat them, but I use cut bait, and I usually use the heads. And I try to get into quiet places where there's a lot of structure, and you know, where there's a lot of places in Flathead like those rocks and trees. And I would start out in some of the coves where it's kind of quiet on some of the points where there's ledges and stuff, and just if you can find some structure and some deep water close by, and just sit there and just try to fish there with it. That's where I would go if I'd never done it before.
And give it time, right? Don't get discouraged.
Yeah, I know Matthew picks a lot of them out in the channel with him drifting, so they're out there.
Mm-hmm.
I've like that day I caught 5 of them that day. In a short amount of time, I was fishing a stump and some rocks out on that point in the ledge with a nice big cove off to the side, and I just felt like those fish were going to pass through there and go up in that shallow water to eat, and I just sat there. I catch more flathead waiting them out than I do moving around.
Same here.
Yeah.
Catfish head hunters wants to know, do you prefer to fish with current or no current if fishing a river?
I like no current, but I mean, on Lake Wiley, that's about what you get, no current, unless it's been coming a month or so.
And Lake Norman's so big, even when they are pulling water, you don't get no current.
No, I know. I use 90% of the time, if I'm down there fishing and you don't see me out in the main lake, I'm in one of those coves somewhere. Not coves, but creek channels. Up in the South Fork, straight across from the Belmont Landing, I'll go up in that cove. I mean, that creek channel and fish. But I like fishing the points. If I can find structure on a point up in those secondary creek channels, that's where I like to fish.
Yeah.
Like I'm fishing for bass.
Well,
So flathead are what you're targeting, right? Because there's an awful lot of blues out there in Wiley, if I'm not mistaken, but you're generally going after flathead.
Yeah, I usually set up where I can catch the flatheads, and I throw further out into the channel.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see I catch a combination of fish, blues and flatheads. I pick up the blues too. They come up in there.
oh yeah.
I mean,
It seems like on a lake, the blues will orient to structure a lot more than what I understand they do on a river. And I mean, I don't know because I'm not a river fisherman, but it seems like the more videos I watch, the more that people really start targeting structure to chase the flatheads, and not so much as for the blues. But on Wiley, we can catch blues on structure just like we can flatheads. So picking a good spot for a flathead, you're also probably picking a good spot for blues also.
yeah, because they're going to come up and down that channel.
Yeah.
In the deeper water, and they'll go around that point and up in the other channels. I mean, they move up and they come up in the shallow water. I mean, I sat over in that little cove across from the Belmont Landing, and some of the Wiley fishermen know. I usually sit right out there in the opening of that cove a lot of times, and them blues going up in there to eat on that mussel bed. I've got some videos I can put out there where I've caught some big blues up in that cove.
I've caught some monsters back here. I love it. The weekend angler wants to know circle hooks or J hooks
For flatheads.
for flatheads.
I use nothing circle hooks for everything, and I use those Catfish Sumu heavy duty hooks.
Mm-hmm.
I got some 8s and 10s, but I really like their hook. It's just a really beefy heavy duty hook. It's got a twist to it, and I've never.
Does it have a straight shank or a bent eye?
Oh, it's bent.
It's bent? Okay.
Yeah, I can get it a little bit closer. I don't know if that'll help or not.
Oh, there you go.
That's kind of hard to figure out where that thing. Oh, here it is. There we go.
There it is.
I don't hear where the camera lead is at. I don't hear where my fat head is.
Yeah, your other left.
That was rough. And I'm a computer guy. But no, I like their hooks. I mean, that's all I ever use. They're a little bit heavier dutier than those Gamakatsu hooks, and they just stay sharp. I like using because whenever I use any kind of J hook or anything, I wind up hurting the fish more than I do anything. It winds up getting deeper down in their throat, and I wind up throat hooking them, and I just don't like doing that.
Yeah, that's never good.
Yeah, I'm a gombo man.
Yeah, and most of the baits are all small baits. I don't use a lot of big baits.
Do you think flatheads find deeper holes to get in when it gets cold, or do they tend to stay out but bury up?
I've caught them in the wintertime. I've caught them in the wintertime in the same places. I've caught them in the summertime. It's just not as many. I mean, it's a lot longer wait sometimes, but I've caught them in the same places.
Right.
And them two that I got into that day, you saw the video. I cast it on both sides of that stump, and them flatheads came out of them stumps and slowly took that line. I waited too long on this one because you could barely see it moving. They picked up that bait and took it back into that stump pile.
Yeah,
I got one of them. The other one I didn't get out.
I've seen that in the daytime where I've had a bait maybe, I don't know, 40 feet outside of a big brush pile. Seen him pick it up and just head right back into the brush pile with it. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen. That's something to witness if you ever see that.
Yeah, and the line wasn't moving no more than looked like the wind was blowing the string around.
Yep.
Now, David, they are asking about your YouTube channel.
I don't have one of those.
Well, you probably gonna have to get one because you're getting a lot of people that's asking about that. They can find you on Facebook, I know that, but you might have to.
I never did have one I was a bass fisherman for many years down there. I stopped fishing for about 5 years because I got so frustrated, and then I decided when I come back I was going to catfish because I could get away from everybody and go at night. And I started looking on YouTube, and that's how I found most of you guys. And the first one I found was Dieter. And I would watch him and his son live fish at night for flatheads. I mean, I watching him and his son catch flatheads, whatever they call.
Right.
I used to enjoy watching them when they'd go live at night. And that's when I started meeting more of you guys because I was like, all these guys are out on YouTube, you know. And then I went on your show, and then all of a sudden I got all these fishermen on my Facebook page now.
Yeah, just if you want to set one up, just give me a holler, and we'll walk you through it and figure you out. It's something fun. It's somewhere I look at it as I'm not going to try to be a big YouTuber, but it gives you a place that your grandbabies one day will say, well, look at there. I can watch Paw Paw.
Yeah,
he might be gone now, but I can see him now, you know?
Yeah.
And family members can go and be part of your life that they might not get to join you in.
That's true.
I got a lot of veteran friends, and you know this, David, that can't fish, that can't get out, and they live vicariously through us. So don't forget, guys, to say hey in your videos once in a while to them. And even in here tonight, I promise you there's probably about 10 that's watching that's not in chat, but they come in, they watch and learn from us. They used to love to go with their daddies and their grandpas and stuff, and they no longer can get out. So always throw a hand up. Make sure you fly the American flag on your boats, guys. Make them feel good because they do watch us. They do give you support. They might not say hey, but they give you watch time on your videos. They out there giving you support. And plus, they supported us to be free to do this fishing.
Absolutely.
We're back to the end again. Let's do another roll. I got a pink one to give out tonight, guys. Guys and gals.
Light it up in chat, so if you want to be entered.
There you go. We're going to spin her up. We'll let her
roll.
Tell you what. Let's tell Lyle to go ahead and jump back in here. Lyle, join us in here and let you spin it up.
Hey, guys. I can have to pull everything up right quick. It's going to take me a minute.
Well, if you don't feel like messing with it, we can spin her out right here.
You know what? I ain't done nothing but sit here and enjoyed you guys visiting with David, so I think I can probably find it. I haven't done it in a while. I got a message a while ago about being on at the beginning of the show and not doing this and not having the link right. Kevin sent me the link to get the look for the three of you that I was looking for, and Betty sent me a message says, didn't think you was ever going to get that. Well, I forgot how to do it. So, it is what it is. But I'll come over here to this other computer and jump that up there. I enjoy doing this, and I can't thank Mark and James and David for the great show we had tonight. Man, it was awesome.
Thank you again for having me. It's great to be here. You have no idea.
I feel like I'm talking to a bunch of pros, and I'm just kind of like preaching to the choir. But.
Hey, you know what? We're just everyday guys like you and everybody else in here.
We're up here because we like to talk about it time and time again.
Never the truth.
If anything, it confirms what you're doing is right. When other people are doing it successfully, it's absolutely validation. It's a great thing to share with people.
The thing that Doc and I always talked about was that all we wanted to do was help people catch more fish.
There you go.
Like I was telling you what I did the other day down to the lake. I came in like 3 o'clock in the morning and everybody's fishing. And I'm like, they said, you catch any fish? And I know some of you guys have heard this. I'm like, yeah, I usually catch a few. I said, what y'all fishing for? Catfish. Because I'm getting ready to put my boat on the trailer. The guy catches a perch on a worm and he's fixing to throw the perch back in the water. And I'm like, don't do that.
Don't do that.
No, don't do that.
I walked over to the other side of the dock there at Belmont Landing, and I saw he had like open faces. He said he had 30-pound line on there, and I gave him a couple. I showed him how to cut them up and how to put them, how to use them.
Right.
And I gave him a couple perch out of my live well, and he put his little bucket. I said, just cut them up in pieces and throw them out there. And I said, just don't let your rod lay there on the deck, on the dock like that.
No. Trust me, David, before they put them on metal docks, I could not tell you how many rods and reels I've seen people lose off of them docks right there in Southport Boat Landing.
Yeah, I told him, I said, you put that cut bait on there. I said, you better put your leg on or something. But I don't know if they caught any fish or not, but I think they learned something about the bait, don't throw the perch back. That's bait, not that little worm chicken liver stuff.
They are some good fish caught off that landing where you seen what in January, last of January, 1st of February, I caught that 35 off the bank down there. So
there's a bunch of on the bank down there this Friday night. Yeah. Bank was lit up at once.
I have everybody loaded up that's in chat.
I heard somebody to try turkey out last week, and I'm like, you got to be with turkey now?
That didn't work out too well for him.
You see what I did with the big old fishing hook when somebody posted a picture of a turkey? I found that big hook about that big.
I want to get one of them for my garage.
Oh,
there you go.
David, thank you for missing me. I appreciate that. All right, David, pick me out a number between 1 and 5, and that's how many times we'll randomize this choice.
You want a number between 1 and 5?
Yes, sir.
3.
1, 2, and 3. And the winner is Fishing and Cooking with Mike Chavez.
All right, Mr.
Appreciate it, Mr. Mike.
All right. But Mike watches a lot of our shows.
Yes, he does.
He doesn't fish as much as when I first started watching him, but man, does he cook up some good-looking stuff.
Yeah. He's back at it. He just put a new trolling motor on his boat, and I think he did put the video recently. So
he's a super nice guy, does a lot of cool stuff for a lot of people on YouTube, makes some great videos, and if you haven't checked Mike's channel out, you need to go do it because he's a great guy. David, man, you shared a lot of cool information tonight. I appreciate it. Wish I could have been in there, but I'm still typing mostly left-handed, so when I have to answer questions or something, it takes me forever to get that done. But
I've been there before. I know what you mean.
Dude, you was in good hands tonight with these guys. They was on it, and they
and 2 of them's all over my Facebook page, so they kind of know what I do. So
yeah, I watch you. I follow you a great deal.
You're on there too.
Yeah, I know you see that I like your stuff and watch what you do, but like I say,
a little bit carried away and post too much, but
well, I know ever since that you was on James's show, I wanted to get you on here because of the amount of information that you shared on there, and I knew there was more, and there was more, and we got a bunch of that tonight. Thank you so much for that. It made the show great, and you're probably going to get hit up to be up on a bunch of these other shows, and so be that. I'm sure that you have enough information to go around with everyone.
Yes, and appreciate you showing us your bait tank and stuff like that. I'm sure that answered a lot of questions for people.
Yeah, it's not that difficult to set one up. The only thing I recommend everybody do is take the time to do some kind of biological setup because it's not that expensive to add that. You got to put the pump somewhere.
Right.
A Tupperware tank like that's not that expensive. The rock is not that expensive. Use them filter socks because they filter out a lot of the trash and keeps it out of your pumps. And if you take the time to do that, what's in here will, of course, they live so well, I have to feed them occasionally. But that's all right. No, I mean, they'll live for quite a while, but I kind of hate to starve them to death, I mean.
Yeah, I do too, and I've kept them a long time alive in boat live wells. They'll live a long time with that, but you got to give them something to gnaw on once in a while.
Yeah, they're not as good once they've been in there for a while. If you're not looking after them, they're definitely not as good a bait.
No, and what I feed them is dried insect treats. It's got there's like crickets and dried mealworms and everything in there. What I found out with that is it don't seem to put as much waste in the water as if you start feeding them minnows and everything else.
Yeah, nice. And Norm says, throw me some worms. That's right.
I mean, if I decided right now I want to go fishing, I don't need to go find bait. I'll give me a dozen perch out of there, a couple of crappies, throw them in the boat, and I'm gone.
And that's awesome because a lot of times getting good quality bait deters people from going, especially if they got to throw a cast net when it's 0 or 30 degrees outside, the wind's blowing. Nobody wants to stand out there in that crap and try to throw a cast net or catch bait on a trip where all you got to do is dip them up. I mean, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and if you
especially when you cramp for time. Right. If you got to say, well, I got 4 hours to go out today to blow, I'm going to go see if I can catch a few cats before I got to go back to work. You can reach in there, scoop you up a few baits, and you ready to rock and roll. And you love to get down there and can't find a freaking bait for nothing.
That's right.
And then you end up going back home without even wetting a hook.
You can usually find the perks. They're pretty easy to find, but it just
for you.
Well, but if you're going, we go out and do the bobber fishing and go to the casting first. But
me and that cotton picking fish don't get along for nothing.
Well, they're easier to catch on Norman. On Norman, you have to run from them. They're everywhere.
Right.
But,
sorry about that, Lyle. I about made you spit that now, didn't I?
You did. I thought that was quite funny on my end. It sure was.
You can keep a lot of fish in that tank if you do the biological right. To where if you don't do any biological, you just fill it up with water and throw a pump in there and self-contained. You might keep a dozen fish in there before the water will get bad on you. But if you do a good filtration, I've got 60 fish in there.
Wow.
And I got that crappie in there and everything else. And I'm telling you, they probably live for months and months and months, maybe longer if I feed them. I check.
You're doing something right because most people cannot keep that many fish in that size of tank.
Real quick question: is your garage temperature controlled even in the summer?
No, it's really well insulated in here.
So it stays cool.
And if it warms up during the day and I keep the doors down, it might get down to 60 in here. But now I've got a heater in that.
Well, I'm talking about like the dead of summer. That's my biggest problem with where my bait tank is. It gets too hot and they don't do well in the heat.
That's air conditioning unit right there.
Perfect. All right, got you.
But I've got it so insulated, and the ceiling's got insulation that thick in there.
Mm-hmm.
Even without running, it don't get that hot in here. Now, if we've got the doors open, it does. But if I keep the doors closed, I haven't. I mean, hottest I've seen in the summertime is about 75.
Mark, what can help you? You got a concrete floor in yours, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Find you a corner over there the furthest away from the door. Go get you about 100 foot of that old black plastic pipe. Leave it. It's already rolled up in a coil. Spread it out flat on that concrete floor. Run your pump through it, and just throw you a couple cardboard boxes on top of it, and let that pipe lay flat on that concrete floor. Understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
That concrete floor is always cool.
Yep.
And that will help a little bit.
And I don't think the heat's going to be that is as big of a problem as you think, as long as you keep the water circulating good and keep good oxygen in there. Because if you think about it, I mean, I've been down Lake Wiley fishing, and the water be 94 degrees, and them fish are fine. But now I think what hurts them more is a fluctuation in the temperature a lot.
Temperature.
Yep.
That makes
If
sense.
it fluctuates real fast, then it's not good. But if it gets up to 80 degrees in there and it stays 80 degrees and you got plenty of oxygen water movement, I don't think it would hurt.
David setting hooks and crossing eyes wants to know how long you can keep shad alive. He can keep them on 5 days.
I don't use shad. I don't change shad. I don't throw a net.
Okay.
I'm not running. These perch and these crappies work just as good. I'm not gonna run around. Like I said, I'm lazy. I don't get out and drift. I don't throw nets.
Flint Hill, they're not mine.
No, if I go up late Norman and catch 60 or 70 perch and throw them in here, I'm good. I'm going out there and do all this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I think maybe I'll catch more fish if I did. I don't know.
Well, bad shoulders, Lyle will tell you, throwing that net with bad shoulders ain't fun, is it?
Well, it's been a long time before I could throw one.
My shoulders, like I said, I don't want to work hard to catch my fish.
There you go.
Hey, you know what? As many and the size of fish that you're catching, it don't matter how you're doing as long as you just keep doing it.
Bluegills and crappie.
I wish
Seems to be working.
We can use bluegills, but we can't use crappie over here. But James just kills me, and he talks about using largemouth bass to catch them because there ain't nothing I'd rather make a video out of than whacking up a largemouth bass using it for bait and watching these guys up the lake cry.
Well, we ain't supposed to chop them up. Like David said, if I can get a bunch of 8 to 12 inchers, I'll take my fillets off of them, and because you got to keep the carcass so they can measure them.
Well, one thing I don't know, one thing I've never been clear about, and Dieter probably knows the answer to it, probably. But you're allowed to keep 2 bass undersized, and you have 5. Well,
right.
If they're allowed to be undersized, why do you have to keep the carcass for those 2 if that's all you got?
I don't. I chop them up. Chong, chong, chong.
So if they do come to catch you, what you got is a head. The only thing left in my bait is the tail. I use everything. But if it's a bass tail and I'm allowed to have 2 under 14 inches or whatever, any size, what difference does it make?
That's right.
I ain't nothing me take that daggum big old mallet and take a 2-pound bass and say, "Choom!" Cut that head off that son of a gun and throw it out.
You're killing me.
I think North Carolina law for crappie is ridiculous. I mean, you're gonna fillet the thing and use it for bait, but you waste all that other fish.
But what I'm saying, even if you're taking all those crappie home to eat, they would prefer you to take them heads and throw them out in the woods for something to eat out there in the woods and not allow you to use them to fish with.
Well, that's another advantage of fishing at nighttime in the dark. At 2 o'clock in the morning, there's nobody out there.
Now, we're not encouraging anybody to break the rules and regulations in your state or in your waters. We are telling you things that we might do.
I'm not either, but before it starts turning daylight in the morning, I start pulling up some of my lines and switching out bait then. So I've used those crappie heads. I know I'm not supposed to, but it only makes common sense. What is a crappie on Wiley? Got to be 8 inches. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, 8 inches. I say 8 inches, I think.
If you can't look at a body of a crappie and say that's an 8-inch crappie, something's wrong with you. Somebody's just being so picky and asinine, they just out to look to write a ticket. So that's the kind of way I look at it. But
I don't ever see them at night. If there's no game, I mean, I'm not telling people to break the law. I'm just saying at night, I have never seen one down there at night.
You're right, weekend angler. This is hypothetically.
Yeah, right. And I'm saying I don't do it that often, but I've done it from time to time. If I've cut up a crappie and the head's sitting there, and I'm like, I put it on the hook.
I mean, I don't understand it. Right. I mean, if you can throw them off in the woods, why can't you use them as bait? I don't understand it. You're going to eat the fish. You know, that's the way I do my brim. If I catch good brim, I'll take and I have a baggie. I'll cut the head off of it, use the head for bait, put the body in a baggie, and it's going home to be cooked. Why can't you do the same thing with crappie? Of course, crappie brim, you don't have a legal length or whatever, but still, you know, whatever. Well, guys and gals, we do appreciate you joining us on Catfish Weekly tonight. I've had a blast, Lyle and David and Mark. Man. It has been a lot of great information, some good laughs. David, we'll dang sure do this again. Maybe catch you one night when you dang sure going to be out on the water. And look forward for the videos, guys, because David's going to take me out. We're going to put these bobbers to work. I've got to get some video, Lyle, of these bobbers disappearing under the water.
I think you got the right man for your shows.
Maybe you can do it live on one of your shows one night.
We can do that.
I will watch that.
Absolutely. That would be great. David, thank you so much for being a part of our show tonight. And James, thank you for donating the bobbers for giveaways. We appreciate it so very much. We've had a great show with a lot of participation in chat. Mark, it's a pleasure always to have you on here to help us out. You know, and I can't thank you enough for everything you've done for us the last few weeks. And we may have you back on next week. We'll see. I don't know what we've got going for next week yet. I kind of slacked off on getting people set up, but
I got some names lined up for us.
I'm always here to help, my friend.
I'm going to get one of them hats. I'd like to have one of them catfish and crappie hats. That's what I fish for all the time.
We can get you set up. You just contact me.
I'm here and I'm wearing it in support of Palmetto Cats. You know.
Well, you know, David, Kevin's a good supporter of all the channels, so there's no big problem with that. You know, he does a lot of good things for the sport, so we're good with that. We're just thrilled that you took your time out on a Monday night. Heck, you could have been watching Monday Night Football or whatever else is on TV. But
don't get him started, Lyle. Don't get him started.
I'm not watching it.
Yeah, I understand. I really do. But thank you.
I won't go there because it's a fishing show. I don't watch it. I go fishing and I go do stuff that I'm doing.
Well, Kevin says to tell you thank you for wearing that shirt. And like I say, it's all good with us. We all appreciate it. And I'm quite sure that there was a whole bunch of people in chat that enjoyed the information that you shared with all of our viewers tonight, because it was some really good information.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like I said, I'm kind of a lazy fisherman. I like fishing points where there's structure and shallow water and a deep channel. If I can find those 4 things and the wind's blowing in my face, I'm good.
Well, I like structure. I love structure. I don't care where it's at.
A lot of people don't like being in the wind, but that wind blows all that bait right in. If you're sitting near a cove and the wind's blowing it into the cove, you go in there and look at all the bait that's in there.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Yep.
All right, James, you want to close us out for the night?
Thank y'all, everybody, for joining us on Catfish Weekly. Mark, I enjoyed it. David, Lyle, of course, as always. With that being said, God bless you. God bless America. Make sure you shake a hand of a veteran, a police officer, a paramedic, or a firefighter. They out there on the front lines for us, guys. God bless. And we'll see y'all Wednesday night on Picture Catfish.
Good night, everybody.